Hey everyone, my name's Bo. Welcome to Unscripted BS. This is my daughter Emma here with you. I wanted her to be a part of my first full-length video for many reasons. One, because she's the little glimmer in my eye and my little cupcake. But she's also my little mini-me. She loves movies like her dad, and I think I created that little monster in that regard. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. But we're here to do our spoiler review for Fantastic Four First Steps. So first of all, thanks for watching. Please, whether you plan not to subscribe to the channel or not, please give us a like if you can, unless you just really hate the video. But this is kind of the start of something, hopefully, for me and for us, and our love of movies. What I really hope for this channel, if all goes to plan, is that I create a channel where people can come and openly discuss their love of movies, share that with each other, do it in a polite way. Like, you don't agree, that's great, give a reason why, and that's good enough for me. But let's try to be kind to everybody. I think being kind is the new heavy metal or something like that. Isn't that what the saying is?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so let's first talk about just kind of our overall opinions. Saturday night, I did my very first video, which was my out of the theater reaction, which my daughter gave me a thumbs up and a like, and a subscribe. She was very proud of her dad, so thank you, honey. I really thought this movie was amazing. I won't use the word fantastic to describe it, but I think as a little kid, I went to movies all the time by myself. I was what they call a latchkey kid, and so my mom was a single mom. I was at home many nights by myself, which was very common in the early to mid 80s. And in the summertime and on the weekends when mom would have to work, she would oftentimes give me money to ride my bike down to the movie theater. And believe it or not, for $5, I could go to the movie, get a popcorn and a soda. And one of my very first movies was seeing in the movie theater multiple times was Gremlins. And I think I literally saw it 7 or 8 times in the movie theater that summer. So I guess I say all that to point out that I just love movies. I love when a movie can engulf me in it and allow us to forget about our real world troubles and, things going on in our personal lives that stress us out and all that. And I really felt like this movie was inspiring, was shot beautifully. The casting was amazing. The performances were amazing. I know with Superman, a lot of people in online social media and reviews were saying, this is my Superman. Maybe they didn't like Henry Cavill's performance or Zack Snyder's directing of him and the kind of tone of the movie. And so it kind of made them not think of him as their Superman. I say that because I really loved the performances. And I think that's what truly inspired me watching this movie. What was your overall opinion of the movie, honey? What did you think?
I really liked it. I really liked what they did with the Thing, how they made him a little more blockier than the originals where he's kind of just flat, but he looks kind of blocky.
You could definitely tell that it was a costume, practical, versus CGI all the time. Okay.
I really liked this one. This one's probably my favorite one.
Yeah. What was your favorite scene?
I like the part where Sue goes out with her baby after they see Galactus. She goes out with their baby, and is like, I won't give up my baby, blah, blah, blah. I kind of forgot it, but I really like that speech. I think that's pretty meaningful, and I really like that.
That was actually probably one of my two favorite scenes in the movie. As obviously a parent to a child, you can relate to that instinct. And I actually got emotional in the theater when I almost started crying. I definitely was about to shed tears when Sue walked out there in front of everybody in front of the Baxter building holding Franklin. And, you know, the crowd, the mob started to gripe at her about, you know, why wouldn't she do it? And it was, to me, it was the line of the movie. And I'm sorry if I don't get this exactly right, but she said something like, I won't give up my baby for this planet, or for this planet, but I won't give up this planet for my baby. Basically saying she was going to fight to her death. That sacrifice. And I think that's something else that's really can really bring somebody into a movie, get them fully immersed in it, and, you know, get the buy-in, as a term is commonly used, to get you fully engaged. So that scene right there, I think, also as being a parent. So this film, to me, I think, and what I'm seeing from some of the early numbers, is that this movie is attracting maybe an older crowd, at least initially, and that you're seeing that in the numbers between Superman and the Fantastic Four. And I mean, a lot of people might say, why are we comparing the movies? I know a lot of other people online have as well. You know, there's a lot of similarities in these two movies, and then add on to the fact that they're both been released within 2 weeks of each other. They're both considered tentpole movies. DC is relaunching their cinematic universe with the DCU with James Gunn. I really enjoyed that movie. I wouldn't say I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I love the Fantastic Four, just for some of the reasons that I just stated. I like the guy, David Cornsweet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and several others, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, and several other of the castings. But I think overall the story, kind of the dramatic points, it didn't maybe have as much action as Superman, but I thought that there was a lot to be, a lot more depth to the Fantastic Four movie. Walking out of the theater, I gave it a score of, I think, between 9.1 and 9.3. I tried to kind of go through my head to see where I would rank this in my cinematic universe. You know, it's now, I think, 35 movies, I believe, or 36 movies. I would definitely rank it in my top 10 or 11 films. The ones that I would say for sure are ahead of it, four of them are done by the Russo brothers. You've got Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Endgame. I love Thor Ragnarok. I love when a movie, especially a Marvel action movie, it strikes the right tone with the action with some comedy. Obviously, Thor Love and Thunder went way over the top, and it really turned a lot of people off. And so ever since then, everybody's worried about them being too funny. And I think that was maybe a one-off versus a regular one. Let me talk about casting for a few minutes. I think this made all the difference in the world in this movie. First, you got Pedro Pascal as Reed Richard, right? Mr. Fantastic. You got, he's from Narcos Mexico. He's from The Last of Us. He's all over the place right now. I guess he's got 3 or 4 movies coming out this summer, which I think 3 of them are already in the movie theaters. I love Pedro. I first was exposed to Pedro on Narcos Mexico, and I thought his performance on there was incredible. Vanessa Kirby, she's she's from the last three Mission Impossible movies. I think it was the White Widow, I think is what she's referred to as.
I remember her now.
Loved her in that movie. I thought she was so charming in that. You got Eben Moss Bacharach. He plays Ben Grimm or The Thing. And I think as much as I really loved those three performances and the guy playing Johnny Storm, Joseph Quinn, I think Vanessa is the MVP of the movie. Between the scene that she gets there, the scene in space where she gives birth in zero G, which was incredible. And I think I didn't finish my thought on that, but as a parent, getting to be there for the birth of your child and seeing how amazing your wife or spouse is in that moment and what they go through to give birth. I think just even the thought of it, even though obviously it didn't happen for real, she is now pregnant. Actually, she's gonna have a baby very soon.
That's cool.
Yeah. But just knowing what they go through and then having to do it in space, and I just she just was incredible. And then doing the ultimate mom thing, fighting for your child to the bitter end, right? Which eventually kills her. Which, spoiler alert at this point, because I'm hoping a lot of you have gone out to see this. But this is a spoiler review, so if you're watching this and you haven't watched the movie, unless you're just going to take our words for it, her son Franklin, he is in the comics an Omega level mutant, oftentimes referred to as OP, overpowered, which basically he can create universes, or they call them pocket universes. And we'll get to the mid-credit scene here in a minute to kind of go over that. But I loved Ben Grimm's performance. It was very subtle, but there are a couple moments in this movie where, Sue and Pedro Pascal, his character, come to dinner after finding out they're pregnant.
Like that.
And they're late, and Ben just senses it because he knows Sue so well that she's pregnant, and then he gets up and gives her a hug. A lot of things were made out of a couple of things in the movie that I thought were grossly overstated and were made a bigger deal than they were. If you are someone who follows these movies like I do and watches a lot of the YouTube videos on them prior to them coming out, the rumors, the gossip, the what they think is going to happen in the movie, a lot of things were made out of Johnny Storm not being the playboy that maybe Chris Evans played in the 2005 and 2007 videos, or movies, excuse me, that he wasn't quite the playboy, or he wasn't into women as much, And I'm just, it just really bugs me that people won't wait until the movie comes out to kind of get a sense of because that's one of those characteristics of this character from the comic books. Well, as you know, or at least hopefully you know, that there's never really a one-for-one iteration. These are pieces of art that the person directing it, in this case, since it's a movie, does his own adaptations, right? And there's going to be nuances with each character, the stories, because you're never just going to take a comic or a book or a poem or whatever it may be when you're turning it into a movie and make it a literal copy and paste of that movie. It's going to be my interpretation of reading that comic, of reading that book, reading that short story or whatever. And so I think a lot of noise was made about that in the movies. And I think they did just enough to show that Johnny, although it not be as smart as Sue and Reed, that he is a smart guy. He's still into the women, because he's going after the Silver Surfer, who was also great in this movie. and her name skips my memory at the moment. But I think the main four characters, I definitely felt like they were a family, and I think that also opened me up, warmed me up to them. That made me feel like I was in their home, enjoying dinner with them when they'd sit down at dinner, when they were arguing with each other. I thought these were common little arguments that they would typically have, but when you're a team like they are, they can quickly turn that around and come to a compromise. I definitely think my overall score is going to be in that. I'm going to give you a specific score. I'm not going to give you a range. I'm going to say 9.3. I don't want to go too much higher. It's definitely not a perfect movie. I think the things that you're going to give it a 10, just a 10 out of 10.
10.
Okay.
I loved what they did with the thing and how they actually showed Galactus instead of just the poof, the cloud.
Yeah, that's a complaint of many people have from the 2007 movie, is that Galactus was portrayed as a cloud and not as a giant being, celestial type being, as far as in the movie. CGI and technology has come a long ways in 17 years since that movie came out. And so, I try not to be too hard on movies. A lot of people say I'm a pretty easy, I like some things that aren't very good. But I thought this movie was incredible. It won't get any Oscar buzz or anything for, Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal's performance, or Vanessa Kirby's performance as Sue Storm. But I thought these four were great. I thought Ralph Ineson as Galactus, his voice is menacing. I thought the visuals of him on screen in this 1960s futuristic alternate universe were incredible. Just the casting, the writing, the whole thing. And, really my only complaints, I think Emma here mentioned it, didn't she, on the baby?
There's like a few little scenes that actually look a little CGI, but at first I actually thought it was an actual baby, but then I was like, I don't think they would do that.
There was a lot of times where it did look pretty darn real. There were just a few moments where you could definitely kind of tell, and babies can't act. So it's pretty hard. So everybody's complaining about it. I think the only reason I truly noticed was because I did watch some non-spoiler reviews before we went Saturday night. And so I was really, when the baby was born and I'm watching and I'm just like kind of looking for it. So I think that was part of it. But I did notice a couple times. And then the other thing was, the thing about Johnny. I think that was definitely overblown. The only other thing that I would say, because I think the movie was like an hour and 50 minutes or an hour and 55 minutes. If you didn't hear this beforehand, oh my goodness, he was in Rounders. John Malkovich, he was supposed to be the Red Ghost in this movie. Early on in the movie, as they're catching up to speed, because this group of individuals have been portrayed technically 4 times previously, including a unreleased 1990s bad movie before CGI was even a thing. Everything had to be practical. Everybody kind of knows their backstory. And I think they didn't want to waste time in the movie showing that. And so I think they did a really nice job doing kind of a montage that included being exposed to the galactic, or sorry, to the galactic cloud, or whatever it is, that turned them and gave them their powers. They kind of showed that, plus a montage of kind of some of the bad villains that they'd fought in the past. And there's a spot at that beginning in that montage where Reed is being stretched, and he does it to knock a gorilla into the bay in New York. I think Ben didn't get enough. He could have used a little more time showing his backstory a little bit, or at least exploring his struggle with being the Thing, right? And being the only one that doesn't look normal. I think they could have left that in there with him. And I think if they did some pre-screenings with either internal people or external, and the feedback they got is like, well, why didn't he come back later in the movie? I just disagree with that. Like, Galactus is a galactic threat, right? He's bigger than any other threats, right? Other than like Thanos or other huge threats. And so I think showing a little montage, and then maybe once they showed that, or showed that montage and then showed them facing off against him, you could have also maybe even expanded in that little 15 to 20 minutes, maybe shown a little more with Johnny flirting with another girl or something like that, or saving a girl and then getting her number or something, right? People want to complain about it, but I think I don't say this often about a movie, but another 15 to 20 minutes, and I think they could have really gotten a little higher score from me. So again, I'm going to give it a 9.3. If you've made it to the end here, we really appreciate it. I know it wasn't completely smooth sailing. We appreciate you watching the video, and I don't know what we're going to have to review next. What do you think? Is there anything on the horizon that you're aware of?
Doomsday.
Well, yeah.
There's Doomsday.
That's a year and like 4 months from now.
That's okay.
Spider-Man 4 is next. Spider-Man Brand New Day next summer.
Oh.
But that's a year away. Yeah. So that's the next Marvel movie is next summer with Spider-Man Brand New. Oh, post-credit scene.
Oh,
all right. Boy, I almost forgot about this.
Very good.
I'm going to be surprised if anybody makes it to the end of this thing. My first video. All right. So when the movie ends and they've defeated Galactus, the Silver Surfer, my goodness, has knocked Galactus into the portal to send him to an entirely different universe without his ship, and she goes in there with him. So girl power. Girl power. So they're gone. So go partly through the credits, and Sue's sitting on her couch. It's 4 years later. Funny, 4 years later, right? Fantastic Four. So it's 4 years later. Sue is sitting on the couch with now her toddler, Nathaniel Richards. Okay? And she's reading a book to him. And it's probably more of an educational book. And so she says, I'm going to go get us another book. And she finds more of a kid's book for him, right? She wants him to be a kid like any mom would. Doesn't want him to grow up too fast. And when she comes back, there's a man in a green cape and a hood. And it's Doctor Doom. Okay? Now, you don't get to see his face.
So cool.
One thing I have not seen anyone talk about is that during the production of this movie, there was set photos that were taken. You can tell that they were taken from away from the set, them sneaking somebody onto set. Well, there was no other cameos in the movie that were a surprise. And so I would assume it was Robert Downey Jr., but then they don't show his face. Now, if you don't know this, the post-credit scenes were produced and shot by the Russo brothers. These are the directors of Civil War, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and Endgame. So I think when we get to see this scene again, either potentially in Spider-Man No Way Home, but more than likely maybe at the beginning of, actually probably at the end of Doomsday would be my guess, is that you'll get to see his face. So maybe they shot more, but they wanted to still leave it a surprise, so to speak, or leave that ambiguity there. But he's sitting there or kneeling down on the floor, and Franklin is touching his face, and you can clearly see that he's holding his mask. And my theory is that this will actually be at the end of Doomsday. And the Fantastic Four rocket that you see in the post-credit scene for the Thunderbolts
/ New
Avengers is not the Fantastic Four escaping from their universe, which I think after Thunderbolts, knowing that Galactus was coming, that I think a lot of people made the assumption that Galactus was going to destroy their planet, which is in the 828 universe. And that's why you see them on the rocket Well, you don't see them, but you see the rocket coming to the 616, the Prime universe, the sacred timeline for the MCU. I think at the end of Doomsday, Doom is going to take Franklin. I think I said Nathaniel. I did. Franklin
Yeah, you
Richard.
did. I was like, what?
Yep, Franklin, and escape to the 616, which is where you'll see the first time that Spider-Man, Tony Stark was his mentor, someone he loved, like a father figure. Yep, and he's going to see the face of Tony Stark, and it's Victor Von Doom from another universe, because there's the variants don't always look the same. So that's my thoughts. Again, we went a little longer than I wanted to, because I wanted to try and keep it a little shorter. So, hey, if you don't make it through all the video, that's okay. We just love you for watching. Thank you. Please, again, hit the thumbs up. Please give us a subscribe. It's going to get better, I promise you. This has been Emma.
And also, don't forget to hit that bell icon.
And I'm Bo. Thanks for watching Unscripted BS. Take care.